If 1.3 million Indian army with all their wherewithal, if they cannot intimidate us and they cannot coerce us, we are different from the Hindus in every possible aspect of life. Our religion is different. Our customs are different. Our traditions are different. Our thoughts are different. Our ambitions are different.
I say to the whole world, India will identify, track and punish every terrorist and their backers. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth.
The Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance with immediate effect until Pakistan credibly and irrevocably abjures its support for cross-border terrorism.
How many of us are still restless, demanding more from Modi's government? I mean, demanding more aggressive reactions from India against Pakistan. I see provocative posts all around me calling out for war. But did you realize that Indian government already opened doors for war by suspending Indus Water Treaty? Look at India's nuclear policy, which strictly operates on no first use. And on the other hand, look at Pakistan's nuclear doctrine, which allows them to clearly resort to nuclear weapons if they are militarily and economically choked. Please don't think that, so what, we also have nuclear weapons. No, that's not right. Because we must remember that we are fighting against an enemy who is already crumbling, and an enemy with no goals. Have you ever heard Pakistan talk about science, technology, education, infrastructure? No. All they talk about is Kashmir. Do they have goals? And what is their progress in the last 20 years? Where were they 20 years ago and where are they now? Look at their poverty rate, GDP, debts, and most importantly, look at the anti-Pakistan rebellions in Balochistan, which contributes to almost half of Pakistan. That means half of their country is already restless. And on the other hand, look at us. Look at our goals. We have goals to reach in no time. So my point is, what is the point of utilizing or spending or let's say wasting our time, resources and energy to prove our strength to the weakest? So please don't get me wrong. All I am trying to say here is, let's punish the perpetrators without falling into their trap. So to understand the trap, look at the spot they choose, a tourist spot, and the people they targeted, tourists. And also the way they attacked by specifically bringing religion into the picture. So the target is very clear. They want to target the unity of India and also the development of Kashmir, which is totally based on tourism. That is why they chose a tourist spot, and also by bringing religion into picture. So now, if we are picking on where they left, and if we are just sticking the whole conversation and whole problem to just religion, and if we are spilling toxicity everywhere, indirectly triggering religious riots internally, did we not foolishly fall into their trap? I want to talk about the people who are directly blaming the government's recent actions and approach. Saying that it could be a possible trigger for these attacks today. Okay, so let me acknowledge your point. Let's rewind ourselves, to those years of secularism where the country was flourishing with secularism 15 years ago. Look at the number of terror attacks and look at the intensity. And just remember how the whole country was helplessly staring at the Taj Hotel and how easily, the terrorists were able to penetrate from north all down to the south and even targeted cities like Hyderabad. If you look at the map, it makes at least some sense for an Indian to accept that, people were able to penetrate into states like Rajasthan, Gujarat and, up there Jammu and Kashmir, which has some shared border with Pakistan. But how about terrorists easily traveling all the way down south? So did secularism help in those days? And look at the last 10 years, the number of terror attacks, how drastically they came down. and how India started feeling safe, and how Kashmir is healing, and how it is even developing. So now let me address the people who want India to take inspiration from Mossad. Yes, Mossad is good for Israel, but Israel and India are totally different. Look at Israel, how small, how tiny they are. And on the other hand, look at India, the large border that they share with Pakistan on one hand and China on the other hand. And even the border is not as smooth as it is between US and Mexico, where Trump can easily construct a wall. No, the border is very challenging, the terrain is very mountainous. And no matter what India does, we must accept the challenges of the geography. 3,000 kilometers of border between India and Pakistan. And on the other hand, we have China always looking for an opportunity, again 3,000 kilometers. So we can't simply shift the whole security on this side to Pakistan. And also, sometimes they target Jammu and sometimes they target Kashmir. So we must accept that when we have a neighbor like that who works with only one goal, which is to stop India from reaching their own goals. Always, 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 even after 20 years, we will have a terrorist attack. There is no permanent solution to this. So please think twice before blaming India's capabilities, security-wise. And also, before expecting India to deal with Pakistan or to handle Pakistan like how Israel handles Hamas. How can we compare Hamas and Pakistan? Military capabilities of Pakistan are much, much, much bigger than that of Hamas, thanks to America. At the end of the day, India will never be Pakistan. Just like their army chief himself said, we are different. Yes, we are proudly different. Take anything for comparison: poverty rate, GDP, debts, development, and even look at the leaders that run the government. If you simply look at the houses of retired Indian officials, from army, the kind of houses they live in, and look at the expensive villas of retired Pakistani army generals. They own these poshest villas in expensive cities like Virginia, London. So that is exactly why I want every Indian to understand and kind of accept that we have an enemy with no goals, and we have a neighbor who is weak and who is already crumbling internally. We don't need to do anything specifically to damage the enemy. They are damaging themselves. All that Bharat has to do now is to march towards our goals with much more strength, much more unity, and to just focus on being that superpower. As much as I feel extremely sorry for the tourists who lost their lives at Pahalgam, I'm also deeply worried about the livelihood of Kashmir locals. So look at this Kashmir local who is a pony rider, and he happened to be at the site of terror attack that day. He is not educated, but I am surprised and inspired by the wisdom he has. Though he shares the religion of the terrorists, he could understand the ulterior motive of the terrorists and how any Kashmir local who encourages or works hand in hand with the terrorists, how they are simply digging their own grave by losing their livelihood. And that wisdom is exactly what fueled his bravery at that moment. And let's take Kashmir heroes like these as our inspiration. Amarnath Yatra must go on, and we must continue to visit Kashmir, and we must all play a key role in developing Kashmir on par with rest of the India. If there is one permanent solution that I can think of for this problem, Kashmir development on par with rest of the India, that is the only thing that can completely silence Pakistan. Jai Hind.